I want to tell you something that will disturb your sleep, something that will tear through the comfortable illusion you live in. There are 18 spiritual truths that allow you to read any human being without them saying a single word. You have been trained to look at words, at faces, at gestures, but those are masks. The real communication between two beings happens in silence, in vibration, in presence. The surface lies, the depth never does. And unless you can see the depth, you are blind, even if your eyes are open. People think that to know someone is to talk to them, to ask questions, to gather information. That is nonsense. The mind collects data. The heart feels the truth. When you are deeply aware, when your consciousness is not clouded by judgment or desire, every person stands naked before you. Not physically, but energetically. Their aura, their energy field, their posture, their stillness, even their chaos, they reveal everything. You don't need to interpret. You only need to be present. But you are not present. You are constantly running away from yourself, and that is why you cannot read others. You are too occupied pretending to be something. You are too busy hiding behind your own words, your own stories, your own pain. How can you see another when your own eyes are covered with dust? These 18 truths are not about others. They are about you. When you awaken these truths in yourself, suddenly the world becomes transparent. You will see the motives, the lies, the fears, and the beauty in everyone without a single question being asked. The first truth: silence speaks louder than words. If you truly listen, not with your ears, but with your being, silence reveals what words try to conceal. A person's silence is not empty. It is filled with what they cannot say. Observe the spaces between their words, the pauses, the hesitations, the vibrations that escape in their stillness. You will see their wounds speaking, their fear trembling, their ego whispering, their love waiting to be allowed. You cannot fake silence. It always tells the truth. The second truth: energy never lies. A person can smile while their energy screams in pain. They can say, "I love you," while their vibration says, "I need you." The body can be trained to deceive, but energy cannot be manipulated for long. The more conscious you become, the more transparent others appear to you. You begin to see through the tone of their presence, not their speech. When you meet someone, do not listen to their words, feel their frequency. If your body feels heavy, there is falseness. If your being expands, there is truth. The third truth: the eyes reveal what the tongue hides. The eyes are the windows of the soul because they cannot perform. They are pure presence. When someone looks at you, don't look at what they want to show. Look at what they avoid. The eyes always try to escape from the truth they fear to face. Notice when they look away, when they freeze, when they soften. In those moments, you will see the person that exists beyond the persona. The fourth truth: emotion is energy in motion. Every emotion, no matter how hidden, moves through the body. The way someone breathes, the rhythm of their hands, the tension in their shoulders, the stillness in their jaw. These are not coincidences. They are the language of the unconscious. The body never lies because it has no ego to protect. When you stop interpreting with the mind and start observing with awareness, the body reveals the book of a person's soul. The fifth truth: presence cannot be imitated. A person who is connected to their being radiates an undeniable stillness. You feel peace just by standing near them. A person who lives in the mind radiates restlessness, even behind a smile. Their presence is fragmented, scattered. This is how you can read people instantly, by sensing the quality of their presence. It is like tasting water. You don't need to analyze it. You simply know if it's pure or polluted. The sixth truth: people show you who they are in how they listen. The ego listens to reply, to defend, to prove itself right. The conscious listens without effort, without resistance. Watch how someone receives silence, not only sound. If they rush to fill the silence, they are uncomfortable with themselves. If they can sit in stillness, they have known something of truth. You can measure the depth of a person's consciousness by how peacefully they can exist without words. The seventh truth: fear disguises itself as control. Those who try to dominate, to manipulate, to impress you are not powerful. They are terrified. Power is silent. It doesn't need to prove itself. The need to control is the confession of inner chaos. When you meet someone who constantly seeks attention, who always wants to be right, understand, they are screaming through their insecurity. Don't be fooled by volume. The loudest ones are the most afraid of silence. The eighth truth: love cannot pretend for long. Love has a certain fragrance, soft, non-demanding, free. Lust wants to possess. Love wants to liberate. You can see it in the eyes, in the gestures, in the energy. Love is not something you can act out. It either flows or it doesn't. When someone says, "I love you," don't believe the words. Feel the vibration. Does it expand you or shrink you? If it expands, it is love. If it shrinks, it is attachment disguised as affection. You see, these truths are not techniques to manipulate others. They are mirrors to awaken you. The more conscious you are, the clearer others become. You don't need to decode anyone. You only need to dissolve your own blindness. Once the fog of your mind disappears, every face becomes a book, every silence a sentence, every gesture a revelation. The moment you stop trying to read others and start being aware of yourself, you begin to understand everything without trying. Because existence is not separate. You and the other are waves of the same ocean. To understand another is to understand yourself. When you look deeply into someone, you are looking into your own consciousness, reflected in another form. That is the ultimate truth. The ninth truth: the way someone treats the small reveals how they will treat the great. Watch how a person behaves with a waiter, with a stranger, with a child, with someone who cannot offer them anything. That is their truth. When someone bows only before power, it is not respect, it is calculation. The authentic being moves with the same grace toward the beggar and the emperor. Their love does not discriminate. To read a soul, look at how they move when nobody is watching. The smallest gestures carry the loudest messages. The 10th truth: resistance reveals attachment. When you speak truth, some people become angry, defensive, uncomfortable. They are not reacting to you. They are reacting to their own wounds being touched. The more a person resists a truth, the more it threatens the lie they live in. If you watch closely, you will see the twitch in their body, the shift in their eyes, the sudden change in their breathing. Truth always exposes falsehood, and the ego fights to survive. You don't need to confront it, just watch. Their resistance is already their confession. The 11th truth: what a person laughs at reveals their consciousness. Laughter can be a window to stupidity or a door to enlightenment. The unconscious laugh at others, the conscious laugh at themselves. Observe humor. It is the most revealing mirror. What someone finds funny tells you where their awareness lives. When laughter comes from love, it heals. When it comes from hate, it wounds. A person's sense of humor is a map of their soul's maturity. The 12th truth: the unconscious is addicted to noise. Notice how most people fear silence. The radio, the phone, the constant chatter. It's all an escape from facing the emptiness within. The need to fill every space with sound is the scream of a restless spirit. If someone cannot sit quietly even for a few minutes, their inner world is chaotic. The conscious being loves silence because silence is the song of existence. You can read someone's depth by how peacefully they coexist with stillness. The 13th truth: truthful people have nothing to prove. You can feel their simplicity. They do not wear masks. They are comfortable in their nakedness. They don't argue to be right. They share because it overflows. The liar, however, is always tense because lies need constant maintenance. You will see it in their face, in their voice, in their energy. Lies tremble. Truth breathes easily. The more authentic someone is, the lighter their presence becomes. Their very being feels transparent, effortless. The 14th truth: pain that is accepted becomes light. Pain that is denied becomes darkness. Everyone carries wounds, but what they do with those wounds defines their energy. Some use pain to become more compassionate. Others use it to justify cruelty. Watch how someone speaks of their suffering. Do they cling to it? Do they wear it like a badge? Or do they speak from a place of understanding? Pain transforms only when accepted without resistance. When you look into someone's suffering, you can see whether they are growing or decaying. The 15th truth: ego hides behind knowledge. Many people speak beautifully about love, meditation, consciousness, but it is all borrowed. They repeat words without tasting their essence. The ego is clever. It can even use spirituality to remain in control. It can quote scriptures, perform rituals, play the role of the enlightened one, but its energy will betray it. Knowledge from the head feels heavy. Wisdom from the heart feels light. When someone speaks truth from experience, you feel silence between their words. When someone speaks from ego, you feel noise even in their pauses. The 16th truth: the way someone breathes reveals their state of being. The breath is the bridge between the visible and the invisible. Shallow breathing means fear. Deep breathing means trust. The unconscious breathes as if running away from life. The conscious breathes as if dancing with it. If you observe the rhythm of someone's breath, you will know if they are living in tension or in surrender. When you breathe with awareness, you begin to mirror life itself, and through that mirror, every other being becomes readable. The 17th truth: what a person avoids talking about reveals where they are imprisoned. Everyone has a corner inside they refuse to face. It is their hidden shame, their secret wound, their unhealed past. When you are alert, you will see how the energy shifts when the conversation touches that forbidden space. They will change the subject, laugh nervously, become defensive, or retreat into silence. The more someone avoids a topic, the more that topic owns them. Freedom begins where avoidance ends. The 18th truth: love is the ultimate language of understanding. When your heart is awake, you don't need to analyze anyone. You simply feel them. Compassion is the highest intelligence. It sees everything without judgment. It understands without needing to define. To love someone is to read them completely, and yet to accept them as they are. That is the paradox of enlightenment. You see all their darkness, and still you embrace them with light. Only then can you truly say you understand another human being. Now, when I say you can read anyone, I don't mean becoming a detective of people's minds. I mean becoming a mirror of pure awareness. The more silent you are, the clearer the reflection becomes. Reading others is not an act. It is a state. You don't do it. It happens through you. It happens when the observer disappears, when you are no longer judging, interpreting, labeling. In that emptiness, the other's truth emerges effortlessly. And when you reach that level of clarity, you will see that people are not mysterious at all. Their behavior, their tone, their energy, everything follows a pattern of unconsciousness or awareness. You will begin to sense who lives in truth and who hides behind illusion. You will see who moves from love and who moves from fear. But remember, this vision is sacred. It is not for control. It is for compassion. Because once you can read the wounds of another, the only thing left to do is to love. The ability to read others is not power. It is sensitivity. Power divides. Sensitivity unites. When you can see the inner child behind the aggressor, the fear behind the arrogance, the longing behind the anger, then judgment disappears. You begin to move in the world like a silent flame, seeing everything yet remaining untouched. That is the fragrance of awareness. You see, these 18 truths are not separate from one another. They are facets of one single awareness. Each truth is like a mirror fragment, and when they all align within you, they create a reflection so clear that illusion cannot survive. But you must understand something fundamental. Awareness is not a technique. It is a transformation. You cannot do awareness. You can only be it. And when you are being awareness, people reveal themselves as naturally as flowers opening to the sun. But people are terrified of being seen. That is why they hide behind masks, roles, and polite lies. They are afraid that if someone sees them as they truly are, they will no longer be loved. The irony is that only truth can be loved, because love itself is truth. When you pretend, you might be admired, envied, desired, but you will never be loved. To be truly loved, you must be naked in your being, unprotected, unpolished, raw. Only then can another soul meet you beyond the games of personality. Most of the time, when you think you are relating to someone, you are actually relating to your own projection. You don't see the person as they are. You see them as you wish them to be, or as you fear them to be. The mind is like a projector, casting its inner films upon everyone around. That is why misunderstandings are inevitable, because nobody is really meeting anyone. Only consciousness can meet consciousness. Everything else is illusion interacting with illusion. Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and suddenly felt you knew them without any reason? That is not coincidence. For a moment, your masks dropped, and two beings touched in silence. That is what I call real communication. It is beyond words, beyond time, beyond personality. It is soul recognizing soul. In that meeting there is no reader and no one to be read. There is only understanding, but you have to be very present for such moments to happen. They cannot be forced. They happen when you are not trying. You see, trying always comes from the ego. The ego wants to use awareness to get something out of it, to read people, to manipulate situations, to feel superior. But awareness cannot be used. It can only be lived. The moment you try to use it, you lose it. It's like holding a butterfly. You close your fist and it dies. Awareness can only live in open hands, in open hearts. The true master of perception is not the one who reads others, but the one who reads themselves with complete honesty. If you wish to understand anyone deeply, first learn to sit in front of a mirror and meet your own eyes without turning away. That is the hardest thing for most people, to face themselves without judgment, without excuse, without running. You want to know others because you are afraid to know yourself. It's safer to analyze someone else's shadow than to face your own. But remember, every time you judge another, you reveal your own unconsciousness. The world is your mirror. What you see outside is what you deny inside. So when you look at someone's anger, don't react. Ask yourself what part of you is still unhealed. When you meet someone's fear, feel your own trembling. When you see someone pretending, see how you too wear a mask. Through this mirror of existence, everyone is helping you awaken. Every encounter is an opportunity to see another reflection of your own consciousness. This is why I say, when you can read others, it is because you have begun to read yourself. Self-awareness is the key that unlocks all doors. When I say you can read anyone without a word, I am not giving you a skill. I am giving you a way of being. Reading happens when separation ends. In deep awareness, there is no you and them. There is only one flow of consciousness moving through different forms. When you are silent enough, you start to feel that flow. You see sadness move through someone like a cloud. You see joy like sunlight. You see fear like fog. You no longer personalize it. You just witness. And in that witnessing, understanding blossoms. To live this way is dangerous because the world of unconscious people does not like to be seen. They will call you strange, distant, even arrogant. But it is not arrogance. It is clarity. You cannot pretend anymore. You cannot play the social games of deception. When you live with awareness, falseness becomes painful to your senses. You crave authenticity like a starving man craves bread. And once you taste the real, the unreal loses all flavor. Look at how people exist today. Everything is performance. Smiles are rehearsed, words are borrowed, emotions are curated. The world has become a stage, and everyone is acting. But deep down, everyone is tired. The actor is exhausted from pretending to be alive. The greatest suffering of humanity is that it has forgotten how to be real. The moment you drop the act, life becomes light again. And from that place of realness, you begin to see reality in others. You can't read a person through effort. You can only read them through emptiness. When your mind is full of opinions, expectations, judgments, there is no space for truth to enter. Truth needs space. It needs silence. So the art of reading others begins with the art of being silent within yourself. Don't rush to interpret what you see. Don't label. Don't analyze. Just observe. Let the energy speak. It will tell you everything if you are quiet enough. And when you become that still, the illusion of separateness dissolves. You begin to see that people are not doing anything to you. They are acting from their own sleep. The liar is lying because he is asleep. The angry man is shouting because he is in pain. The manipulator manipulates because he is afraid of losing control. When you see this, compassion arises naturally. You stop reacting. You start understanding. You stop taking things personally because you see they were never personal. They were just patterns, unconscious patterns. This is the revolution of consciousness, moving from reaction to understanding, from judgment to compassion, from noise to silence. When you can see without reacting, you are free. And when you are free, you can see everything. To live with such awareness is not comfortable. It is not a soft pillow for the ego. It is fire. Awareness burns everything false. It does not decorate you. It dissolves you. When you start truly seeing people, you can no longer hide from the truth of existence. You will see their pain, their emptiness, their fear, and you will realize the entire world is wounded. You will walk among the broken, and you will see that their smiles are bandages, their ambitions are anesthesia, their relationships are band-aids over invisible fractures, and yet you will not feel hopeless. You will feel compassion, because now you know, beneath all the noise there is stillness. Beneath every lie, there is longing for truth. This is why only a silent heart can read the world correctly. The mind misinterprets everything. It projects, it distorts, it judges. The heart simply feels. And when you live from the heart, your vision becomes pure. You no longer need to decode others. You simply understand. Understanding is not analytical, it is existential. It happens when you are so present that your being vibrates with the same frequency as existence itself. Then every person you meet becomes transparent. Every situation becomes a mirror reflecting some hidden aspect of the whole. But awareness demands courage. You must be willing to lose your illusions. The mind clings to illusion because it gives comfort. Truth gives clarity, but clarity can be uncomfortable. It strips away everything unnecessary. People say they want to know others, but do they? Because to truly see another human being, you must also see your own hypocrisy, your own fear, your own longing. You cannot read someone deeply unless you are willing to be read by existence itself. When I say see, I don't mean to observe from distance. I mean to feel from within. Feel the vibration of someone's sadness, not as an outsider, but as if it were your own. Feel their joy as your joy. Feel their confusion as a wave passing through the ocean of consciousness that you both share. The deepest way to read another person is to disappear as the reader. When there is no division between the observer and the observed, understanding becomes instantaneous. That is the ultimate communion. You ask me, how can I develop this ability? And I say, you already have it. You were born with it. Every child knows how to read energy before they learn to read words. Watch a small child. They can feel who is angry, who is kind, who is false, who is real. They are still connected to their intuition. Then society educates them out of it. It teaches them to focus on words instead of energy, on appearances instead of essence. Education kills sensitivity. You become clever, but you lose wisdom. You become informed, but you lose awareness. You know facts, but you forget how to feel. To return to that natural sensitivity, you must unlearn. Meditation is not learning, it is unlearning. You are not gathering new knowledge, you are letting go of all the conditioning that prevents you from seeing clearly. You are washing away the dust from the mirror. When the mirror is clean, reflection happens on its own. And suddenly, every encounter, every glance, every silence becomes revelation. Life itself becomes your scripture. But beware, once you start seeing truth, you can no longer go back to sleep. You will begin to see lies everywhere, inside religion, politics, relationships, even spirituality. You will see how people use masks of goodness to hide their greed, how they use morality to cover their fear, how they use faith to avoid doubt. It will shock you at first, maybe even depress you, but if you stay silent, if you don't run away, compassion will arise like dawn after the longest night. You will see that even deception is unconsciousness, trying to protect itself. Nobody is evil, they are just asleep. The sinner and the saint are not two, they are one being at different stages of awakening. When you live in this understanding, judgment disappears completely. You don't justify people, but you don't condemn them either. You simply see, and in that seeing, love happens effortlessly. The more you understand, the less you react. You stop trying to change others, because you see that change happens only through awareness, not through force. You stop advising people, you stop fixing people, you just radiate clarity. Your presence becomes the teaching, and those who are ready will feel it even without words. To read someone is to hold them in your awareness, like the sky holds the clouds, without interference, without attachment. The sky doesn't judge the storm, it allows it, and in allowing, it remains untouched. Be that sky. Let everything move through you, but remain centered. When you become the witness of life, you see that everything is just a play of energy, rising, falling, transforming. You are the awareness in which it happens, not the waves themselves. And then, a strange thing begins to happen. People start to feel seen around you. They may not understand why, but they will feel naked in your presence. Your silence will mirror their truth back to them. Some will be drawn to you, others will avoid you. Because when someone's truth is reflected, they either open or they run. Do not take it personally. The mirror has no preference, it only reflects. Your task is not to make people comfortable. It is to remain true to the light of awareness. You will realize that to read others is not about gathering information. It is about deep empathy. It is not a mental act, but a sacred connection. When you can look at someone and feel their pain without absorbing it, when you can sense their joy without clinging to it, when you can remain still in the face of their storm, then you are truly awake. That is the moment when compassion and clarity become one. You are not reacting, you are responding from consciousness. And this state is freedom. You are no longer trapped in your own mind, no longer manipulated by appearances. You move through the world with a certain weightlessness. You listen not only to words, but to the silence between them. You see not only faces, but the souls beneath. You begin to understand that nothing ever hides from awareness. It is we who hide from awareness. The moment you stop running, life reveals itself fully, naked, raw, magnificent. You see, the ability to read others without words is not some mystical gift reserved for the chosen few. It is your natural state, lost beneath the noise of your conditioning. Awareness is your birthright. You were born pure, perceptive, alert, but society, with all its noise and fear, covered your clarity with layers of falsehood. Now, through meditation, through silence, through honesty with yourself, you begin to peel those layers away. And what you discover is not something new. It is something ancient, eternal, something that was always there, waiting for you to remember. When you awaken this sensitivity, the whole world becomes transparent. Not in a way that invades, but in a way that connects. You begin to see that everyone is fighting invisible battles. Everyone is carrying unspoken griefs, unfulfilled dreams, untold fears. The world looks loud on the surface, but beneath there is a quiet cry for love, a longing to be understood. Once you can see that, you cannot remain the same. Judgment fades, empathy blooms. You no longer want to win arguments. You want to understand hearts. You no longer wish to dominate. You wish to dissolve the distance between you and the other. And when you start living like that, you are no longer a person among people. You are presence among presences. You are a mirror where others can finally see themselves clearly. Your silence becomes their sanctuary. Your awareness becomes a light in which they can remember their own. This is how a single conscious being transforms the world, not by preaching, not by persuading, but simply by being. Presence is contagious. One flame of awareness can ignite 1,000 others. But remember, this path is not about reading others for curiosity. It is about reading them for compassion. When you see through the masks, do not laugh, do not judge, do not expose, simply understand. Everyone wears a mask because everyone is afraid. Everyone lies because they were never taught to trust. Everyone pretends because authenticity was punished in their childhood. So when you look at someone's falseness, see the child trembling behind it. When you see arrogance, see the wound it hides. When you see greed, see the emptiness it tries to fill. Only then will your seeing become sacred. To truly see another is to heal them. Your gaze, when pure, becomes a mirror in which they rediscover their essence. And this is the highest service you can offer humanity. Not to change people, but to see them as they are, without distortion. Awareness heals by its very presence. Darkness cannot exist in the light of consciousness. Just as a candle cannot fight darkness, it simply shines. So stop trying to fix people. Shine instead. The light will do the work. And yes, there will be pain in seeing so clearly. When you begin to perceive the unconsciousness of the world, it can feel heavy, even unbearable. You will see manipulation, hypocrisy, self-deception everywhere. But if you remain still, something miraculous happens. The pain transforms into compassion. The same awareness that shows you the ugliness also reveals the beauty hidden beneath it. The same eyes that see falseness begin to see innocence. You realize that behind every distortion, there is purity waiting to awaken. The caterpillar is not the enemy of the butterfly, it is its preparation. That is the paradox of enlightenment. The more deeply you see human darkness, the more infinite becomes your love for humanity. Because now you understand that darkness is not separate from light. It is just light, not yet awakened. The murderer, the saint, the beggar, the king, all are different expressions of the same divine energy, moving through different stages of remembering. When you see this, you stop separating yourself. You stop thinking, I am the aware one. They are asleep. That is another illusion. You see that awareness does not belong to anyone. It is the nature of existence itself. And then, reading others becomes reading God in disguise. Every face, every pair of eyes, every trembling gesture becomes a verse in the living scripture of existence. You bow silently to everyone, because each being is a doorway to the infinite. Even the most unconscious soul carries the spark of the divine. You begin to walk through life as a witness, not as a judge. You become like a lake, calm, reflective, limitless. People come and go, throw stones into you, disturb your surface, but deep within, you remain untouched. Do you understand now? To read others without words means to live without barriers. It means your perception has become so vast, so silent, that nothing can hide from it. You no longer live on the surface. You live from the center. You see the invisible, you hear the unsaid, you feel the unexpressed. And the beauty of it is that this awareness does not create distance, it creates intimacy. Because now when you look at someone, you are not looking at them. You are looking through them, into the very essence you share. The day you can look into another's eyes and see yourself, love will no longer be something you seek. It will be your very being. Then the need to read disappears, because understanding has become your nature. You have become transparent, and the world becomes transparent to you. That is the highest intelligence, not to think, not to interpret, but simply to see. So let these 18 truths not remain words. Let them become the fragrance of your daily life. When you meet someone today, do not talk first, feel. When you look at someone, do not analyze, see. When you listen, do not prepare your reply, just receive. Practice silence. Practice presence. Practice compassion. Slowly the walls will crumble, and you will begin to read existence like an open book. You will see that life itself is constantly speaking to you, but only the silent can hear it. And remember, the more awake you become, the more mysterious life appears, because now you no longer live from knowledge, you live from wonder. You no longer try to explain, you experience. You no longer seek truth. You are truth. And from that space, you don't just read others, you illuminate them. So sit with this. Don't rush to apply it. Let these words sink into your being. Let them echo in your silence. Observe how your perception changes, not because you try, but because you are. If these truths have touched something inside you, it means you were ready to remember. You have always known them. Deep in your consciousness they were waiting. Now it is time to live them, and as you do, the world will begin to reveal its soul to you, one silent glance at a time. If this message resonates with your heart, stay with it. Reflect on it. Share it not as words, but as presence. And if your being feels called to walk further into this silence, stay connected. There is more to discover, not out there, but within. Because the one who reads and the one who is read are not two. They are one consciousness awakening to itself.